All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, happy to be talking to an individual who is a well-regarded kickboxer but looking to get more experience in the MMA sphere. He had some back-to-back wins in Bellator MMA. Last outing was a no contest though, but from what I'm seeing, there could be a chance to kind of redeem that and provide a bit of closure there. I'm talking to Raymond Daniels. How's your day going so far, Raymond?
Great, man. I'm in Southern California. It's sunny, shining, so I'm healthy, so not a lot to complain about.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to, talk about the next fight here because I was seeing a report going around from fan-sided MMA saying that the rematch between yourself and Pete Stanonik would be set for April the 16th. Is that the next assignment there for you?
Yeah, that's the next assignment that Bellator is signing me up for. And I'm looking forward to going out and finishing that segment, finishing that chapter. I think it's important, for myself, for Peter, for the fans, for us to, to close something. You don't want to ever leave us in the so to speak.
Yeah, just unfortunate situation, definitely an accidental sort of thing, and it seems like both of you guys were respectful after the fact there, so it's good that that respect dynamic is still there and everything. But that must have been kind of a deflating outcome in a way, just in the sense of the lack of closure. So how are you feeling heading into this rematch here?
Honestly, I feel great heading into the rematch. I felt great heading into the first match. It's unfortunate that it ended that way. I understand that all kind of, say groin strikes aren't, created equal and made the same. I was actually kicked in the groin as well 2 times in that same fight, but, the impact of his was different than the impact of State's particular things that I, was throwing. As far as the fight in itself, I felt really good. I felt like I was in control of that particular fight, and I think I'll be able to go in and still establish that same, control and dominance. I know when fighters in there, they can kind of feel each other out and kind of feel who has the upper edge, either physically or mentally, or, whose cardio is starting to kind of die out. And I honestly felt that I was in control in a lot of areas. He did good control when I slipped and he was able to get in a mount position, but I was able to pretty much just do it without, really taking any damage or anything like that. And like I said, yeah, it was definitely an unfortunate, ending to a match. That same technique I've thrown and have over a dozen finishes, which I'm pretty sure it's more than probably anybody in any combat sport, whether it's MMA or kickboxing. I have probably more knockdowns than in cases that it just happened to miss its target with a fight finishing technique. And, I really felt bad, for him and that he had to experience that. And I know that that's not how I wanted to, and I know that's not how he wanted it, so this is the best opportunity to bring it back.
Yeah, and obviously without divulging too much of the game plan for this one, was there anything in the fight that you picked up on that has some level of utility for the rematch? Because the first fight did get to encroach into at least the second round there a bit. So was there anything learned from the first fight that'll have utility for the rematch?
Well, for me, the biggest thing learned was what is expected from me doing, the kind of COVID quarantine of fighting. So the fighters have these rituals, these different, routines that they like to go through in order to prepare themselves for the fight. I felt like I was a little bit rushed because I didn't understand what was all necessary and needed for the time frame that I had to be down there. So even when I came out for me in the first round, I felt very rushed. That, because I didn't get to warm up like I normally get to warm up. And then I just coming out in the second round, I was actually starting to even find my groove a little bit because I was rushing so much in the first round. So, yeah, just coming out a little more relaxed, a little more composed, like I normally do. And just continue to control and dominate the fight. I don't feel that he was ever at any point in control of that fight. I felt like I was able to land whatever shots when I wanted. I was setting up, to be honest, for one of my spectacular kind of finishes. I just happened, like I said, to miss my target.
Yeah, and just in terms of who you're working with ahead of this one, I'm kind of curious because it seems like you're getting in some work at, Team Alpha Male, but also it seems like the training lab with guys like, TJ Dillashaw and Juan Archuleta, Lance Palmer, just those different kind of camps there. Who are you working with in terms of a base gym and also in terms of the partners for this one? Who are you prepping with?
Oh, that's an awesome question. I'm training with a few different, different people, different kind of trainer. I train over at Training Lab with my primary home with Coach Archuleta. We got Juan Archuleta there, we got Peter Dillashaw, Lance is out there as well. I do a lot of strict conditioning. I work with Matt as well. This camp, we were fortunate and blessed enough to go up to Alpha now as well. My brother-in-law, Northcutt is up there. My wife, Colbey, and I went up that way to get some training and stuff like that. And we got a chance to work with Uriah, and some different guys. We have some amazing athletes down there at Alpha now. Alex Munoz, Ryan Loader, Chris Gonzalez, who just fought last week. So I had a great opportunity to get some different looks. Because my goal is not to be the best kickboxer anymore. Now I am in MMA, and this is where I am. And I understand that the levels to the game, and everyone has something to offer you. Should you have an open mind, open heart, and give yourself just a sponge and just trying to absorb that knowledge. So that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to surround myself with like-minded people, surround myself with equations, so that way I can absorb as much information as possible. I understand that I don't know it all. I am 40. I am playing catch up. But my goal is not to just take fights and to do fights. My goal is to be the best at what I do, to be the greatest at what I do, to climb the Bellator ladder. Bellator is definitely a huge favor. Like creating a top 10 list with Showtime. I think that's amazing. Now it gives me targets to shoot for. Obviously, the top of that ladder, top of that food chain, is like the Luna. That's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to continue to evolve as a mixed martial artist. And that's why you see me training over here at Training Lab and these guys. So you see me at the Alpha now as well, because I need to get. And I want to do it at a faster pace.
Yeah, well, you mentioned, the champion topping the division there, but one of the other, very top contenders seems like someone you're familiar with too. Like, would there be any interest in fighting a guy like MVP? It seems like you guys are pretty good friends with one another, but would that be a dynamic where you guys would be able to get out there and kind of compete, and maybe there wouldn't be the bad blood? It's just kind of a competitive-minded business thing.
Oh yeah, Mike and I are good friends. When he comes out here, we hang out. When I go out there, I hang out with Mike for a number of years. So we are friends first and foremost. However, we are both competitors, and Mike and I have competed against each other a number of times. So we understand the differences of our friendship and our competitiveness. We fought each other, and then went on out had dinner right after immediately. So we understand that it's nothing personal, but if it makes dollars, it makes sense. You know what I mean? So if the numbers are right, I'm definitely open to it, and I'm sure Mike would be as well. For me personally, when Mike and I do cross paths, I would love for it to be for the Bellator gold, because that's what we fought for in the past. Is for, and he comes from the same or similar background that I come from, So I would love to be able to compete against him in a new arena on the highest stage possible for either one of us. So that way we both transcended our style into a new arena. But yes, I definitely am open to it. Not something I go out and actively pursue, but should those numbers present themselves correctly in the timing, I'm definitely open to that.
Yeah, that would be a hugely intriguing match in an MMA context. Obviously, you guys fought a few times prior, but yeah, that could be an interesting one, no doubt. But a bit before, you were mentioning, Colbey Northcutt and everything like that, and she has her own fight coming up later this month with One on TNT. Like, how beneficial is that to be in a relationship whereby both of you are, trending towards similar goals, similar path, methodology, and all that? I imagine that's hugely important there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, being married to One has been a blessing. A new blessing that being married to my wife Colbey that has the same goals and same interests as I do. The same focus and so much more to even drive than I do. So it's amazing for us to actually be experiencing and going through a camp together at the same time. I fight first and then she fights a couple weeks later for One on TNT. So I'm looking forward to going out there and setting the tone for our family. Going out there and letting everybody know how the Daniels family rolls. actually goosebumps even just thinking about it because, I think it's all it does is gain that we have an improved our relationship. And we do, don't get me wrong, we do bump heads because we're both going through and we're both either tired or whatever the case is, hungry or just in a brief mood. So it's an amazing dynamic. And I think that we've actually found a really good balance, a good yin-yang balance to that.
Yeah, and you talk about the dynamic of being in each other's corner, and that's awesome for sure. But are you guys literally going to be in each other's corners for the respective bouts you guys have coming up here? Because I'd seen a prior interview where you were saying that you get more nervous cornering her than you do for your own fights.
Oh, yeah, I sure do. Oh, my gosh, I get so nervous cornering her for her fight. So she was going to be coming to my fight. Unfortunately, my fight was like a week and a half before, 12 days before her. So, to travel and then, to interrupt the minute for camp. So this will actually be the first fight in a while that she won't actually be with me. So that'll be a different experience for me as well. So she's going to stay home and continue her training. So she won't be in my corner. But when I get back, I leave to Singapore. I think it's like 3 days later in order, and I will be in her corner. So yeah, we really are in each other's corner. We really do have each other's back day in and day out. So in real life and in the cage, we still have each other's back. That the true support now. I don't know. I guess the best way to look at it is the true passion that we have for each other. We will support each other through everything, ups or downs, and all of it. We know that we have each other's back.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious just because like you had your initial MMA fight with Strikeforce back in the day on Showtime, and this upcoming Bellator card on Showtime as well. Like, do you kind of process things through that lens at all? Like, is like a coming full circle kind of moment in a way? Is there a redemptive component? Is it inconsequential? Like, how would you characterize being back on Showtime?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it does. For me, it puts things in perspective sometimes. As far as just clarity of what you maybe didn't understand. When you're younger, you may not understand why your parents say, take out the style, brush your teeth, whatever they're trying to teach you these different responsibilities, these different life choices that you're going to have to make later in life. Back then, when I was younger, I was the undisputed kickboxer, undisputed fighter. No one could really tell me nothing. That's why my best advice to people sometimes is don't believe your own hype. Sometimes people start to believe their own hype. They start to feed into what people say online because they lose, maybe like sports center or ESPN or whatever the case is, right? So, it's amazing for me to be able to have this play in my career, be in MMA, having the kickback, Showtime. So it is kind of that full circle, and having an opportunity to correct wrongs in life. A lot of times, people don't have that opportunity, so you make a mistake or something goes wrong. A lot of times, you're not able to come back and fix that. Everybody has that thing in life, right? But you're like, oh man, I wish I could go back and fix it. For me, I had the opportunity when I came back and I did the fight in the UK. I did that 20 punch. That was my first fight back in the MMA. This was my first fight back to Showtime. You know what I mean? So this is my first fight back to Showtime. But now, I want to come out and I want to reintroduce myself to Showtime and say, I am Raymond Daniels. This is what I do. So for me, it's that extra motivation for me to be able to come out and to be able to shine in a way, a brighter than I ever have. So I take those things and I look at it from that lens and I use it as motivation. I don't let it, something nervous or anything like that. It's motivating to me.
Yeah, well, it seems like you, took it as a learning experience and made the proper adjustments working with guys like, Mark Munoz and Ryan Hall to kind of like shore up that game a little bit with the submission grappling.
Yeah, definitely. So I've definitely worked on continuously, improving my game and evolving. I work with my coach, Tyler Wombo. I work with Joe Murphy. I've had the opportunity to work with Ryan Hall as well. He's an amazing artist in what he does. He's an outlier in the jiu-jitsu world. He's showing some really cool things. But with Matt Munoz, who helped me, and showcasing not only my own personal skills, but all of the time and energy that all of my coaches have invested in me itself. So and I find that by learning the wrestling, by learning the jiu-jitsu, all of it's done honestly just opens up my striking a lot more. So now I'm actually able to be that much more dynamic with my striking because previously I was going in and being a lot more conservative and defensive because I wasn't as familiar with the wrestling and jiu-jitsu. So now that I'm familiar with that much more, I can actually open up my striking system for the skill.
Hey, Dylan, we got to get ready to wrap, okay? So maybe one more question.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, I was actually just going to kind of put it in that kind of term, too, just like in being mindful of the time, if there was anything Raymond would want to add as a parting thought as we're kind of wrapping things up.
No, just, I'm very fortunate and blessed that Bellator and Showtime allowed me to have this rematch so I can kind of go out and be able to correct that situation which happened last time. So I'm looking forward to going out. I'm in the best shape of my life, and I look forward to going out and showing everybody in the world what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah, it's going to be a great rematch when Raymond Daniels and Pete Stanonik get out there on April 16th at Bellator 257 on Showtime. Thanks for the time, Raymond, and just, best of luck with the remaining part of the preparations, and also have a good rest of your day too, man.